What's super hearing like?
I can hear everyone. And Jimmy? They have problems.
Hey everyone, this is Spoonie, and I'm going to be doing a review and breakdown for My Adventures with Superman Episode 8, which is called Zero Day, Part 1. This episode is the culmination of almost every major plot point from the previous 7 episodes. So if you haven't seen them, there will be a playlist in the description of this video where you can check out my coverage of the last 7 episodes. The episode starts off at the secret prison that is currently housing Task Force X. Livewire, Heatwave, and Intergang are all released from their cells. They're brought to their knees by shock collars controlled by the General and Ivo. The General informs them that because they stole the tech and endangered lives with it, that they now have a debt to society that they will be forced to repay. So this is this show's Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. Now, part of me thinks that they should have called it the Superman Revenge Squad, but Task Force X is definitely a lot cooler and much more recognizable in the current landscape. So Clark wakes up in the middle of the night to the sound of whispers. He hears a cry for help that cuts through all the noise, and it brings his attention to a nearby burning building. He saves the person and continues to hear more cries for help, and so he rushes around the city trying to respond to all the emergencies. While he's flying around, he does hear a familiar voice. He hears the General, and the General is talking about wanting to neutralize Superman permanently. The next morning, Jimmy returns home from some time away visiting his parents. Turns out he left his charger at home, and so when he finally gets back and plugs it in, he discovers that his YouTube channel now has 500 new subscribers. The reason for this is the flood of posts about Superman's recent activities. Clark arrives and tells Jimmy that he's developed superhearing, and he's been awake for the last few days chugging energy drinks and saving people around the city. He also tells Jimmy that he heard the General briefly and has also been trying to locate him as he's been flying around. We cut to Lois getting to work and finding her office full of flowers that were set up by Clark to celebrate their 1-week anniversary. She's definitely pleasantly surprised, but her thoughts keep coming back to the orb that she acquired last episode. The orb can show different versions of Clark throughout the multiverse, going on rampages and destroying cities. Lois wonders how closely they resemble her Clark. She's interrupted by Perry White, who needs her help to assist a special guest columnist, which is Vicky Vale. Vicky is Lois's journalistic idol. She's a character that's normally associated with the Batman family of books, and was noticeably played by Kim Basinger in the Tim Burton 1989 Batman movie. This character was actually kind of set up earlier in the series in the form of an Easter egg poster that was hung up in Lois's room. Lois tells Perry that she admires Vicky for uncovering an inheritance scandal in Queen Industries, which is a reference to Green Arrow, as well as helping bring down the Falcone crime family, who are also traditionally Batman characters. Anyway, Lois and Jimmy are assigned to help Vicky write an article exposing Superman. Superman is flying around the city when he finally catches the General's voice, who is talking about losing track of someone. He focuses his hearing towards a news report of incidents involving a supposed invisible man. Clark remembers that Kyle the Mist from Intergang could turn invisible and surmises he is the one that the General is after. Back with Lois and Jimmy, they're offering to use their knowledge of the city to arrange interviews for Vicky, but they intentionally set her up with people that Superman has saved and who they have a lot of love for him. While Vicky's interviewing one of these people, Clark arrives and tells Lois and Jimmy about the General searching for the Mist. Jimmy checks his Flamebird account and sees an alert about the Mist robbing a pawn shop, and Superman rushes out to catch him. Vicky has arranged one final interview with Dr. Ivo's old assistant, Alex. Alex is now out of work due to Ivotech going bankrupt after Ivo's massive battle with Superman destroyed their offices. He shows Vicky the ruins of the Ivotech Investor Gala, and she notes that no normal person was capable of that level of destruction, completely glossing over the fact that the damage was actually all caused by Ivo. Now, because this is Alex's second appearance in the series, and due to his strong anti-Superman stance, I think that we are finally going to be getting Lex Luthor in this show. So anyway, Superman is pursuing the Mist, and he saves him from getting hit by a truck. Now, because the Mist is invisible, it looks like to the witnesses around that Superman just attacked the truck and smashed it. His super hearing means he can now hear the cries of fear and anger of the people around him, and Superman flees the scene. Jimmy gets an alert about what just happened, and they meet Clark on the Daily Planet roof. They try to console their friend, but he refuses to rest until he can find the general and stop the kidnappings. He focuses his hearing and is able to locate the Mist. He confronts Mist and learns more about the missing criminals. He decides that he's going to work with the Mist to help stop the general.
But if you show me where they're holding her, I'll help you get them back.
The two of them arrive at the general's place just as a plane is taking off. Clark flies up to intercept the plane and gets ambushed from inside by Livewire, Roughhouse, and Silver Banshee. Banshee confirms that they are prisoners, but they are going to be earning their freedom by taking down Superman. Just then, Deathstroke, Heatwave, and Ivo join the battle, and Superman gets his ass kicked.
My parasite tech, and they hate you as much as I do. That's enough.
The general calls them off eventually when Superman is weak enough to capture. Lois and Jimmy have been watching the entire battle on a live stream while rushing to try to help. They arrive too late to stop Clark from being loaded into the plane and taken away by the general.
They've taken Clark.
Okay, so for a character who first appeared in a comic book called Action Comics, this episode finally delivers on the action in a big way. Superman's beatdown is just absolutely vicious. You get the impression that if it were not for the General and his control callers, Task Force X would have absolutely killed Superman. Like I said, this episode was amazing. It's like they took the best elements of each of the last 7 episodes and combined them all into one. And the crazy thing is, this is only part 1 of 2. So I really have big hopes for part 2. And I hope you'll be back to join me as I go through that one. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you then. Bye.